There are several reasons why you have an accent when you speak a foreign language. Bonjour les francophiles, Etienne from Ceci la France. I am a foreign language teacher and I have been teaching foreign languages for about 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I specialize in improving people's pronunciation of French language. Why did I choose this area of the language specifically? It's because I couldn't help but note during my career that even though I had students who were making fast and steady progress, like grammar, vocabulary, listening, speaking skills, all of that, they still had a very heavy accent. Why did they have such a strong accent? In this video, I'm gonna explain you why you have an accent. But before this, I want to define what an accent is with you. What is an accent? Well, you are considered to have an accent when you speak a language while pronouncing in a way that is different from what people expect to hear or listen to when they're native, so different from their standards. French and English are worldwide languages. They're spoken in many areas of the world by many different people. So having an accent does not necessarily mean that you speak poorly or that you didn't learn well. It's just that you don't speak according to the standards that you are expected to follow when you speak that language according to the native population that speaks that language. So it's a very relative concept, yet it does matter to some extent, and I have made a video about it, of which link is below. Click on it if you want to find out why you should try to at least remove parts of your accent and improve your pronunciation. Some concrete reasons why. There are 4 reasons why you have an accent. Let's go directly to reason number 1. The first reason why you have an accent is because you're simply not able to produce certain sounds that exist in the language that you're trying to speak the way the native people who speak it do. So, for example, in French, there are 36 sounds. It's a fixed number. We have 36 different sounds. You pronounce them a certain way. And if you were never taught the techniques as to how to pronounce them, then you will be immediately detected as having an accent. So for example, if you were never taught how to produce the sound en with your mouth, meaning how to use your vocal cords, how to involve your nose, how large to open your mouth, how your lips should be placed forward, backward, your teeth, your tongue, then you will simply not be capable of producing this sound. Let me give you 2 examples. Example number 1, I once was a teacher in Vietnam, and Vietnamese people do have a sound that is similar to en in their language. It's ang. But you see that they produce it slightly differently than us. Instead of pronouncing one straight sound, en, finish it by adding a little n sound while closing their mouth, ang. You see that their mouth is mobile while pronouncing the sound. And so, since they were never taught that their ang was different than the French en, they were just finding the simplest solution so that it doesn't cost them any effort to pronounce. And this is something that we do naturally. Our brain doesn't like to make much effort. So we tend to find the closest thing that resembles what we're trying to produce as a sound in our own language. Another example, which is a little bit more subtle. Cat. 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 You probably have noticed that I said the same word 3 times in 3 different languages. First was English, second was French, and third was Vietnamese. But in each of these languages, the sound a is actually not the same a. It varies from one to the other. In English, you open your mouth very wide and it's quite short. Ah. In French, you just open your mouth narrow, but you drop your jaw. Ah. the shape is not the same. And in Vietnamese, it's a little bit in between. Ah. Every time, even though it sounds like the same sound, it is different. So you see that your ability to produce a sound is one, often biased because you tend to connect it to what you already know in your own language, and two, often due to ignorance because you don't know, you have never been taught how to produce the sound that exists in the language you're learning correctly. That's reason number one. Reason number two now, look. And then Sarah kissed Brandon. Happy end. What did I do wrong here? Well, I applied wrong reading rules to what I was reading. We are all readers, above all. We learn to read from a very early age, and this shapes our brain for a very long time. And when we read words from a foreign language, we tend to apply the rules that exist in our own language or some languages that we already know to the new language, which causes us to make mistakes. And once these mistakes are enrooted in our brain, it is hard to get rid of them. We do learn a lot of words by reading, and when we read, we also unconsciously or semi-consciously picture how we would pronounce this word, and then this translates in our pronunciation. So if you want to improve your pronunciation and hopefully remove your accent if you're trying to, what you should do is make sure that you know very well all the reading rules that exist in the language that you're trying to learn. Example, in French, we have 36 sounds, yet we only have 26 letters. So how do we cover all of the sounds that exist in French language with our little 26 letters? Well, we invent reading rules to reuse the example that I have already quoted earlier. En, well, this sound responds to no letter in the French alphabet. So what we did was to invent a way to write it. We said that when, for example, the two letters A-N or E-N follow each other in a word in certain conditions, then they should be read as en and not as an or n. These reading rules are very important because you learn a lot of words by reading them before you listen to them. So you may want to spend some time learning them and making sure that you master them. The third reason is a little bit tougher to explain, but words are not just sounds pronounced one after another in a row. They have a pace, they have a rhythm, they have a music. For example, listen, comfortable, confortable, confortable. Alors, l'italien, je l'ai mal dit. Confortevole. Je le redis. Confortevole. Non, c'est pas ça. Confortevole. You see that in each of these words, I do not spend the same time on each syllable. Some are shorter and some are longer. Likewise, I do not pronounce them with the same tone, pitch, or kind of music. For example, in French, confortable. I go down with the last syllable. In English, they simply almost elide one of the syllables of the word. They shorten it to almost nothing. Comfortable. See that the fourth is not pronounced at all, or barely. This also applies to sentences, not just to words. For example, if you're trying to speak French, I'm sure you're trying very well. For example, once I was shocked because I asked a student of mine before class, "Ça va? How are you?" You see that I go down and then up, "Ça va?" And they answered me, "Ça va, ça va." Well, this sounded quite rude to me and conveyed a certain emotion that was irritation, and I wondered what I had done to that student to make them not angry but like upset like this. But actually, it was just their own way to speak their language with those notes, and they applied it to French. Whereas in French, we would rather have answered something like "ça va." In order to be polite, you see, up and down, "ça va," or "ouais, ça va." as in I'm doing well, like enthusiastically, you see that the notes, the time you spend on each syllable, short, long, the emphasis you put on certain syllables rather than others, they convey meaning in each language, and this meaning varies. So this is also something that you may want to work on. There is no miracle solution for accelerating your learning process for this part of the language, unfortunately. But what you can do is be conscious of this when you listen. This is very important, and you will see that more and more, little by little, but more and more, you will assimilate, you will learn how to understand and reproduce those musical codes. And there is a fourth and last reason why you have an accent when you speak a foreign language, but this applies to some languages more than others. And now I'm going to tell you two sentences so you can figure it out. Listen carefully. Mes autres amis sont en retard. And I'm going to tell you the same sentence again. Mes autres amis sont en retard. Which one's correct according to you? Well, actually the first one. But what has changed from one sentence to another is nothing related to sound production, misreading some words, or applying the wrong tone, pitch, intensity, whatever you call it, to certain syllables rather than other. It's just about how words interconnect inside the sentence. So for example, in French, when a determiner that ends with an S is followed by another word that starts with a vowel sound, then we tend to apply a rule that is called the liaison and to connect them with a Z sound. Mes autres instead of mes autres. My other, in case you wonder what it means. Alike, the word retard often has its sound at the beginning, skipped when it's comprised between two syllables, because we like to skip the sound in French. This is called the elision. It's a very, very common phenomenon in French language that prevents learner from progressing. And we made a video about it, so check it out. The link is in the comment below. You see that besides all of the problems that I have quoted before, a language is not just a series of words that follow each other. They also interconnect a certain way in a sentence, and this really makes accents different and even inside the French language. To give you an example, I can tell the same sentence in too many different ways that are correct in French. Mes autres amis sont en retard, and with a southern accent, mes autres amis sont en retard. And both are correct. So again, you'll sound like a foreigner, you'll denote a foreign origin, you'll denote an accent when you speak a language in a way that is not up to the standards of the native people who speak it, even though within that language many accents exist. The limit to having an accent is when you're not understood. This is what you are trying to do as a priority as a learner. It is to understand and to be understood. And this is why you should, to some extent, try to remove your accents, which are actually pronunciation mistakes according to certain standards. I hope this video was useful for you. If you want to find out more about how to improve your pronunciation of French language, we have designed an entire course tailored for you to take at your own pace in order to improve your pronunciation and all of the aspects that I have just talked about in this video. The link is down below. I look forward to seeing you again on this YouTube channel or on our website. Please show YouTube that you love us by liking the video, sharing it to your friends, commenting. Please disagree with us if you can, because this is also helping us get some visibility on YouTube. And do not hesitate to follow us to discover more useful content to improve your French.